Hello and welcome to Explore the Outdoors with HBC TV 25. I'm Melissa Kozak.
And I'm Spencer Ellingson. Today on Explore the Outdoors, we will be doing things a little different for our first part of the show.
We will head inside as we cover the Midwest Music Fest. We'll be meeting up with the director of the festival, Parker Forsell.
Then we'll go to JC Park on Lake Winona and meet up with the Winona State University Club Ultimate Frisbee team. Jacob Schlafer, the captain of the team, will teach us all about the sport.
Stay tuned as we will head to the Masonic Theater to check out the Midwest Music Fest. This is Explore the Outdoors with HBC TV 25. Don't miss out on highlights and score updates from your favorite local college and high school athletics by following HBC TV 25 Sports. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to get up-to-date information on all the games covered by the HBC sports team. Grab your smartphone and add us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at HBC TV 25 Sports.
Okay, you just need to choose a protection plan here that works best for you, and you'll be driving away in your new car. We want to make sure that you and your family feel protected against any issues that may arise. I think the Platinum option works best for you.
Did you notice how Max Profit didn't give you the option to say no? You don't need this pressure. It doesn't have to be this way. Max Profit doesn't work at Lewiston Auto, so you won't be pressured to pay for what you don't need. Visit lewistonauto.com to learn more.
Lewiston Auto, the value leader.
Elevate your HBC TV experience with the latest technology to hit your whole home entertainment system. Record up to 6 programs simultaneously and save up to 350 hours of your favorite shows. Pause a program you're watching in one room and pick right up where you left off in another. Video on demand, wireless set-top boxes and mobile device streaming, apps including Alexa, Netflix, YouTube, and more. Call 888-474-9995 to learn more or visit hbci.com/elevate today.
Welcome back to Explore the Outdoors with HBC. It is time to send it out to Spencer Ellingson, where he is sitting down with Parker Forsell.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got to the Winona area and how you got into the Midwest Music Fest?
Well, I grew up outside of Chicago, and I came to college. This was back in the late 80s, 1980s, in UW-La Crosse, and I actually graduated in English, but I had a minor in business. And actually, after getting done with school, I got involved with farming for quite a few years, but interestingly enough, it was doing kind of organizing work, organizing events. And so before I came to working with Midwest Music Fest, I'd had about 10 years of nonprofit kind of management, event organizing. I'd been into music my whole life. Since I was a kid, my parents were into music, and I went to a lot of shows when I was younger. When I was in college, I was very involved in putting on shows and have spent, parts of my whole life somehow being involved with kind of booking bands and making those kinds of things happen. It was only in the last 5 years that really got formalized. I started working with a couple local musicians who wanted to become more professional and try to do it as a living. And so I've been working, like I said, for the last 10 years, helping small farmers with business planning and how to kind of get their businesses off the ground. And so I started working with musicians in the same way. And at the same time, I started kind of advising Midwest Music Fest. And that led into helping them incorporate as a nonprofit. And when they put the board together, they asked me if I would come on and be the director of the festival at that point.
Are you musically inclined as well?
I'm pretty stage shy. That's something I've had to get over, just even as being the director and having to get up and introduce bands and talk. It's not something I enjoy all that much. And I've played a little guitar here and there, but it's never really clicked for me. And so by being kind of the organizer and booking bands, it's been a way for me to kind of help the music business along and help musicians further their careers, I guess, and help me kind of be involved at a deeper level, even though I've always been passionate about music. I just never was a musician myself.
So what kind of music do you like yourself?
Pretty broad, I guess, and that is definitely one of the things that's interesting about Midwest Music Fest is that it's not focused on one particular genre of music. And we do kind of try to gauge things so that they're interesting from people that might be everywhere from high school or college up to people in their 60s. And I would say that's kind of my interest. I do I grew up to some extent in the 70s, although I was really little then, but I do like a lot of music from the 70s. I like indie rock. I like Americana, kind of alt country type stuff. So, and even like the jazz band, big jazz band, funky jazz bands, we bring them to the festival too. So it all kind of depends on what your mood is. I feel like a lot of people listen to different types of music these days, kind of depending on what mood they're in.
Why don't you just tell us a little bit about Midwest Music Fest and how it started?
So a guy named Sam Brown came to town here. This is the 9th year the festival's gone on, and so 10 years ago he came to town here. He was studying with AmeriCorps, and AmeriCorps is a way to kind of like defer some of your payments for college, or to help you pay off some of your college tuition. And the end of it always involves some kind of capstone project. And Sam had been involved with helping put on a music festival in Oregon where he was going to school, and he started meeting people in Winona and realizing there was quite a bubbling music scene here. And so he started that first festival. 2010 was when the first festival actually occurred. And right from the get-go, it was loosely modeled off of South by Southwest, which is kind of the most famous version of this down in Austin, Texas, where it's multi-venue, multi-genre, and you get a ticket and you get a wristband and you can walk around to all these different venues in the downtown. And the other thing that I think was a focus of it right from the beginning was that to put it in a downtown, in a historic downtown, and help kind of further the economic development of that town by showing that music tourism is a real thing and that people will come to your town and spend money to go see music. And that's something we've kind of stayed true to, even by having this second arm of the festival down in La Crosse now. It's also a Mississippi historic river town, and all the venues are kept in the downtown so that they're walkable. Yeah.
What are the different venues that you can find at Midwest Music Fest?
Yeah, I think the venue-wise, we try to be somewhat diverse too. So you have everything from bars to theater to coffee shops, and there's a real intention of trying to make a good proportion of those venues all ages, so that it isn't just a 21 plus kind of bar type event. That's never been the intention of the festival. And so we do have everything from coffee houses to mid-size kind of bar music venues to something like the Masonic Theater that we're sitting in right now.
What's the schedule like for Midwest Music Fest in Winona?
Yeah, it starts at like late afternoon on Friday, if we're just talking about Winona, on Friday the 27th, and it goes until bar time basically, and then it starts about 11 or 12 on Saturday and goes all day until bar time again. So it's quite a long period of time. There's 9 different stages in Winona, and when you buy a ticket, you get a wristband, and you have access to all those different stages. So you can go around and see, potentially 30 different acts if you wanted to in one day.
What type of music is at Midwest Music Fest?
Well, like I said, it's pretty diverse. Everything from solo kind of folk singers to indie rock bands to more Americana, alt country sounding, to quite a few bigger horn kind of jazz type bands.
Is there headline bands, and when will they play at?
Well, to some extent, the later acts tend to be maybe the more famous and might have a bigger draw. That's not always the case. Sometimes we are putting some of those folks earlier. But one of the purposes of the festival has been to kind of try to bring along the local and regional music scene, and obviously being quite focused on the Midwest. And so we kind of have gained a reputation of trying to introduce people to what some of the best up-and-coming bands might be in the Midwest. And then we also will sprinkle that in with some acts from Nashville. There's a band from New York, a band from San Francisco. And so there'll be a few kind of national acts fit in with some of the best-known regional acts and the best-known local acts.
Do you have a show you are most excited for?
That's always a hard one for me. I mean, I help book all the stuff, so I'm pretty interested, and there's a bunch of different levels of why I'm interested in just seeing how people react to music. For me, one of the most interesting things is watching people discover new music and just kind of have that epiphany of a moment and walking around and watching that happen. I do quite a bit of scouting during the year, and so I do get interested in some of the acts that might be coming here for Nashville are some people that I saw someplace else that I knew were kind of up and coming and might be interesting to bring into the mix of the festival. And so I'm always kind of interested to see how those bands that almost nobody might know, but I know that they're well known elsewhere, are going to perform at the festival.
Do you get to sit down and enjoy the shows ever?
Not too much sitting down, but I do get out and try to see what's going on at all the venues. And we do have 190 volunteers this year between the two festivals, and we have a staff of 5 or 6 people that are working the festival. So it does put me in that place where I can walk around and kind of just see how things are going on, and I do get to catch a little bit of quite a few acts.
What's unique about Midwest Music Fest here in Winona?
Well, just in terms of festivals, I think festivals are much more prevalent now, and so quite a few people probably have gone to one before. A lot of times they're more outdoors, and they might have 1 or 2 stages. And so I think what we're doing is quite unique in having all these different venues in a downtown, sometimes venues that don't normally do a lot of music. And so people that may have gone to places before have not maybe seen music or maybe this level of quality of some of the people that we would bring in during the weekend. So I think that's one thing that's quite unique. Also, having 1,500 to 2,000 people in downtown Winona is not something that happens all that often. And we do get people from Chicago and Minneapolis that are coming in specifically for the festival. We also get a lot of talent buyers now for other festivals, or that talent buy for a theater, people that are part of booking companies, maybe record labels. So there's a whole music industry component of people in town too, which is kind of interesting that that's like happening at the same time in town. And it's also a real benefit to the artists playing the festival that might be more up and coming, that they may get other shows out of this, they may get a booking agent, they may have some record label get interested in them.
Are the La Crosse and Winona festivals similar?
I mean, it's similar in that there's multi-venues that are mixed between kind of coffee house, bar, and theater. They're all walkable in the same way. There's a little bit more focus on Wisconsin bands in La Crosse and a little more focus on Minnesota bands in Winona. But it's definitely a similar experience. And one of the things that's interesting about La Crosse is that there's a lot of hotels right in the downtown. And people have commented quite a bit, people even from Winona that have gone to that one and stayed all night because they wanted to have that experience of kind of being from out of town, staying in a hotel and going to the festival. And it's kind of nice because you can go and just park your car and be there for the weekend and just walk around downtown and be able to walk back to your hotel.
Are there going to be the same bands at each festival, or can we expect different bands when we go?
It's mostly different bands, and that's somewhat intentional, of wanting to get some of the people from Winona to go see their favorite band in La Crosse and maybe vice versa. And then there's some that, maybe a band that's kind of up and coming. There's a band this year from Madison called Birdseye that the music committee really liked, and they're they're like a full band hip hop, really interesting act. And so we thought that's kind of interesting. Let's put them in both places just to see what happens with them. And there's a few of the more local performers I think are performing in both places, but not a lot. It's definitely musically 2 different festivals.
So if you wanted to come down and enjoy Midwest Music Fest, where can you find a list of the lineup and all the different venues that we have here?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in one of these towns, we do have our program kind of in a lot of places around town. If you want a hard copy of that, you can go to midwestmusicfest.org. You can also see the guide to the festival on there, and there's a lot of other information about how to get tickets and timing of a lot of different aspects of it.
Why should someone from out of town come to Midwest Music Fest?
I would just say that we do get a lot of people that have traveled before, and we have a lot of repeat folks that are coming in, and we do have quite a broad swath of bands from all over Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa. So there's a real good representation of Midwest talent. But there is this aspect of serendipity that people talk about, where it is like a real kind of discovery weekend where these bands have been vetted, and you're going to see probably a lot of really interesting music that might be stuff that is not in the popular that you're listening to, but is like that music, and people tend to always walk away with a new favorite band from the festival. So I would say the people that have the best time are the people that really come and are adventurous and go and check out things that they might not have gone to before. And it's really fun to see. I've seen like quite older people in their 60s like at an indie rock show and getting into it and kind of like having this moment where you can kind of tell like, wow, I can't believe that I'm at this kind of show right now.
Why should you celebrate the arts?
I guess for me, I think it's a health. I think it's a really serious kind of like health reason that to go out and see music and to see art, that it really has a healing component to it. And it does really bring people together in a really positive way. And sometimes I feel like, you know, now we do have kind of a divisive political environment, and music kind of muddies that down, and anybody can come out and see music, and it's just fun to see all different types of people of all different ages coming and seeing shows.
You can check out Midwest Music Fest every year in April. This year it will be in La Crosse on the weekend of April 13th through the 14th, and in Winona on April 27th and 28th. Coming up next on Explore the Outdoors, we will meet up with WSU's Club Ultimate Frisbee team.
With our partnership with HBC, we were able to now be a smart gigabit community with US Ignite and the National Science Foundation. All their other partners are large metropolitan urban areas, Austin, Texas, San Francisco, Washington, D.C. And because of the broadband connectivity provided by HBC, we are a community lead for this initiative where we're going to be able to bring next-gen technology and stay competitive in the 21st century economy.
Providing opportunities for residential and business customers, HBC is leadership in your community. At Midtown Foods, we know it's not just about getting groceries. It's about friendly faces, fresh produce, quality cuts of meat, and experienced employees. We know because we shop here too. Midtown Foods, Winona's largest locally owned grocery store, downtown Winona. Over the last 30 years, Waukesha Construction Company has helped with the growth and beautification of numerous communities in the tri-state area. We strive to provide excellent customer service with a fair-priced bid on all projects. Our goal is to provide quality workmanship and excellent service in a timely manner. With an outstanding office staff, superior supervisors, and talented tradesmen to complete all jobs at the standard of excellence, our people are what set us apart. Visit WaukeshaConstruction.com for information and examples of past and current projects, or call 507-454-2707.
Hi, I'm Kelsey, and this is my story. I've been an Ultra member since I was 16. So when I bought my first home, Ultra was my first choice for financing. The process was easy, and the staff took the time to answer all of my questions. My first home buying experience with Ultra was so great that when it came time to upgrade to a larger home, I knew exactly who to contact. There is no one else I'd rather have by my side. Ultra Federal Credit Union, it's where I belong.
This is Explore the Outdoors on HBC TV 25. Let's go out to JC Park, where Alyssa is ready to learn about Ultimate Frisbee from the team captain, Jacob Schlafer.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I was always a cross-country runner. I came to Winona State to run cross-country, and I broke my leg. So I always loved Frisbee and cross-country, and so I saw a poster one day on one of the dorm walls, and I was like, that sounds great. So I dragged a few buddies, and they're here right now, and I haven't looked back. It's awesome.
What is Ultimate Frisbee?
People always ask, they think, oh, Ultimate Frisbee, it's the sport with your dog's gonna catch it or you throw it in the baskets, right? Those are the two main things I usually get. It's a fast-paced game, 7-on-7. You play on more or less a soccer field, and you use a Frisbee. You're not allowed to move with the Frisbee, but when you don't have the Frisbee, you can move freely. Once you catch the Frisbee, you need to stop and use a pivot, just kind of like in basketball, if you will. And you throw two throws, usually the backhand and the flick, and try to score it in the end zone. Kind of like with football, to get a touchdown, you want to catch the Frisbee in the end zone. That's a goal, that's a point.
What are the different positions?
So there are two main positions, kind of like, I'm gonna make them similar to football. One is the handler, kind of like the quarterback. That's the guy who's gonna have all these crazy throws. You can throw it up high, you can throw it down low. His job is to get to the people who are the cutters. The cutters are gonna be more or less your wide receivers. They're better at just catching the disc and just tossing it real lightly back to the handler, who has a little more better throws.
How do you pick the position each player is gonna play?
Well, you want to look at the overall athleticism and just how well they throw the Frisbee, so it really depends, but usually here we'll make people start in as cutters, and then they'll begin as a cutter and then work up to being a handler. Maybe a handler is someone who kind of commands a game like a quarterback.
So I'm an incoming freshman. How do I join?
Usually there'll be a club fair in the fall. We'll be out there with our jerseys on and we'll be throwing Frisbees. Another good way is to contact me, Jacob Schleifer. I'd be like, my email is jschleifer14@winona.edu, and Schleifer is SCHLAEFER. And we have a Winona women's team. They're called the Bad Monas, and they have been around for just about as long as the men's team has. And they'll be around at the club fair too, incoming freshman year.
Why should someone join the Ultimate Frisbee team here at Winona State?
We're kind of like a bunch of brothers, real goofy, quirky dudes, but we really love each other and we just push everyone. We include everybody. There's no cuts on this team. We don't exclude anyone.
How can a community member get involved in Ultimate Frisbee?
That's a great question. So the first thing to do is, a lot of people like to go online and kind of look up the different throws to do, find a good friend and start learning some of the throws. And then usually in the summers, there's summer leagues all over the Midwest and all over Winona. There's one in La Crosse where people can just drive down and start just a summer league where games will be on Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. Usually it's mixed men's and women's play.
How can someone follow the games that you guys play?
That's a great question. Well, we have a bunch of social media where we post how our games are going, and next weekend, April 14th and 15th, we'll be in Northfield, Wisconsin, playing our sectional.
Hey, yeah, look out wide open under. Good idea.
Yes! Oh, you got that!
Here, and touchdown!
How is the 2017-2018 season going?
It's been really good. In the past, we just kind of, did our best, but here we're really focusing on just having a great season, doing what we can. We started in Division I, and we moved down to Division III this year because our school population fell. So we're trying our best to get to regionals and hopefully nationals this year.
When is regionals?
Regionals is going to be April 26th and 27th in Appleton, Wisconsin.
How long is a season for Ultimate Frisbee?
We start in the fall, and it's more or less just to get the rookies and new people just into the game because a lot of people haven't played before or they've just played in gym class. So there's a fall season, but it's not official. Nothing's ranked. But we do have multiple tournaments, and even in the winter we'll practice indoor and go to indoor tournaments. The spring season officially starts in late January, early February, and then goes all the way up to April 1st.
What is the most challenging part of this sport?
The most challenging part, it's learning to do the flick, I'd have to say. Once you get that down, it's pretty good. It takes people years just to perfect it.
Are there any professional leagues that you can get involved in post-graduation?
So yeah, ways to advance in the sport. College is one of the highest levels. It even starts in the middle school level. Just getting awareness of the sport is really important for us. But yes, there are professional leagues developing all over the U.S. The most esteemed one right now is the AUDL, the American Ultimate Disc League, and it's all over the U.S. There's multiple teams. There's one here in Minnesota. It's called the Minnesota Wind Chill, and they're out of the cities.
Oh. Yeah. We're wild. Go, Mike. Keep going, Mike. Connor, no, hold on. Connor.
Yes, Spencer! Good work! Yes, Spencer, play catch with them! Spencer, play catch with them! Oh, yeah!
We wish the Ultimate Frisbee team good luck at regionals this next weekend. We will be right back.
Paying your HBC bill has never been so easy. HBC's new online bill and pay system, SmartHub, allows you to receive electronic bills and make online check or credit card payments with ease. HBC SmartHub can be accessed on the computer or through your mobile devices with the app. Manage your payments, communicate with HBC customer care, and receive messages about your account with a touch of a button. HBC SmartHub. Start today at hbci.com/SmartHub.
Okay, you just need to choose a protection plan here that works best for you, and you'll be driving away in your new car. We want to make sure that you and your family feel protected against any issues that may arise. I think the Platinum option works best for you.
Did you notice how Max Profit didn't give you the option to say no? You don't need this pressure. It doesn't have to be this way. Max Profit doesn't work at Lewiston Auto, so you won't be pressured to pay for what you don't need. Visit lewistonauto.com to learn more.
Lewiston Auto, the value leader.
With our partnership with HBC, we were able to now be a smart gigabit community with US Ignite and the National Science Foundation. All their other partners are large metropolitan urban areas, Austin, Texas, San Francisco, Washington, DC. And because of the broadband connectivity provided by HBC, we are a community lead for this initiative where we're going to be able to bring next-gen technology and stay competitive in the 21st century economy.
Providing opportunities for residential and business customers, HBC is leadership in your community.
On today's show, we checked out the Midwest Music Fest and Ultimate Frisbee.
If you want to learn more about the music festival, please check out their website.
As for following along with the Ultimate Frisbee team as they start their trek to nationals, follow along on the social media pages.
Thanks for watching Explore the Outdoors with HBC. From all of us here at HBC TV 25, have a great day.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. Walker. Get on that corner. Wait. Down. Wait. And on 3, 1, 2, 3, say. All right, boys.